somebody rejected you and now you feel like it's the end of the world, please, I don't even want to hear that mess. Please, you better start taking no's with some grace and allow it to build you up rather than keep shattering you into a million pieces that you can't even put back together. Can we just take a little pause here real quick and realize that rejection is a part of the process? It doesn't matter what process you are going through, you are going to be told no, okay? It's inevitable. So you might as well get comfortable with hearing it.
But it's the job that I really wanted. But I really thought this time that we were finally going to be in a relationship. But why am I being excluded from the event?
Listen, and I want you to hear me well, okay? We are too old to be going in the corner and crying and throwing some little tantrum because somebody told us no and didn't give us what we wanted. There is no reason for you to try to understand the rejection. The rejection has been given, it has been said, it's done. There's no reason to try to understand it, because even if you were to go down that road, what is going to change? Like, what about that is going to change the outcome that's already been given? It is what it is. So instead of trying to understand why somebody is rejecting you or why they are telling you no, put that focus on overcoming the rejection. Let me tell you, you better start coming up with that get back plan, okay? And what I mean by that is, yes, somebody might have rejected you now. Somebody might have told you no or whatever. What's your get back, okay? What is that plan that's going to get you to that point down the line where you like, ha ha, I came out better on top anyway? That's the get back plan that we need to be focusing on. What's up, my loves? Welcome back to another video. Thanks so much for clicking on today's video and coming to hang out with your girl. As always, if you want to see more of the glam, the cutesy stuff and all of that, you can follow me on my short form platform. Links are down below. Let me just put it out there right now. I really hate my lip combo today, but I just went ahead and left it on. I just had to put that out there because I really don't like it. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into today's conversation, which is conquering the rejection. We have no time for the pity parties, okay, baby? We about to bounce back and we about to keep on going. If this is an area that you have never invested in and put time in to work on how you receive rejection and what you do after getting that rejection, it can be hard at any age. I mean, it doesn't matter what age you are. If somebody is rejecting you from something, it's gonna make you feel a certain kind of way. But I feel like for my people in my 30s, and I'm speaking directly to my people in the 30s era right now, because I feel like in your 30s, getting rejection might seem a little bit harder. And I'm going to further explain what I mean by that. So to my people in the 30s, we have to overcome these 30s woes. So hear me out in this breakdown that I kind of have been, it's been on my mind. It's been on my mind a little bit. So hear me out on this. I feel like people in their 30s are struggling the most because we are the millennials, right? And the millennials, I feel like, had it rough. We had both expectation, but we also had exploration. We were the era, obviously, millennials. That's when the new millennium popped off and we had the rise of the internet. Like, think of how big the internet like blew up in our era. There were millions of people using the internet and the internet just kept getting faster and faster. Information was out there at the press of a button. Just like today, we could have so much information like right in front of us. So think of how that affected millennials specifically. So we had that exploration there, like, oh my gosh, it opened us up to a whole new world of things. But then I felt like we also got that expectation, like that old school expectation that was passed down from generation to generation, and you had certain expectations that you had to uphold to, you know, bring respect to your family and to make your family look good. Like, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Editing Tony here. So I feel like I need to add just a little more context on what I mean by millennials having it the hardest. I feel like it's almost like an internal battle, especially for millennials, because it's like we want to further explore things and really get ourselves out of that confined box. But we also have that old school type expectation where we are expected to do certain things and kind of live that American dream, if you will, by a certain time period. Because like, if you look at Gen Zers right now, I feel like Gen Zers have such free spirits. Like, they don't really have that expectation that was placed on millennials and the baby boomers and the Gen X's and all of that. They don't have that kind of expectation that was just placed there like initially. I feel like they have a lot more freedom, they have a lot more exploration, and they don't have that same kind of pressure as millennials. So like I said, this is just my personal opinion. I hope it makes sense. I'm trying to explain it the best way I can, but I just wanted to insert this just so I can give a little bit more context. But let's get back into the video.
Now, some people may agree with this, some may not, but I'm just saying, if you really sit and think about it, in our 30s, we feel behind. We feel like we're not where we're supposed to be. We feel like we should have certain things acquired by this point, but we don't. Why do we feel like we're behind? Like, why? Where is that instinct coming from? It's coming from failed expectations. So these expectations might have been societal expectations, a big one, family expectations. Like, there were so many expectations put on me, like, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to go to school and all of this. So it naturally brings about this pressure like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing certain things and I'm supposed to have X, Y, and Z accomplished by a certain point, but I don't have it accomplished yet. And then you have to think, if you're setting personal expectations on top of societal and family, like, if there was something that you were expected to do from your family and you put all of this personal pressure on yourself to fulfill it, and then you didn't make it happen, then you have personal expectations that you're failing at. A lot of us in our 30s, maybe early 40s, like I said, if you're a millennial baby, but a lot of us are struggling with our sense of self right now. Like, I am saying this because this is something that I've personally struggled with. Like, for me, it happened right when I turned 30. Like, I don't know what it was about turning 30, but I'm like, oh my gosh, my life ain't together. Like, I don't have a house, I don't have this, I don't have that. Like, I don't even have a stable career. Like, it just, all of the everything just fell on me at one point, and I was like, I feel behind. Well, it was the failed expectation. So like I said, a lot of us are struggling to get back our sense of self and realize who we are, what we want, and actually get to a point where we set our own expectations for our own lives. Comment below if you can relate, but a lot of us have had to fight off jealousy because we felt behind. We had to fight off depression because we felt behind. Like, literally, it's a lot of pressure when you feel like you failed to meet certain expectations by certain time periods in your life. But you know what? With all of that being said, let me go ahead and ask you a question. Do these expectations, whether they came from society, whether they came from your parents or yourself, do these expectations align with what you want out of life? There's an unwritten rule in society that says, have your house purchased by 30. Do you even want a house? Like, you really have to sit and ask yourself, do you want a 4 or 5 bedroom house? Or do you want to just buy a condo in a nice little travel, hot spot area and Airbnb that thing on out? Like, do you want that kind of pressure? Because a lot of us are like, oh, you don't have a house yet? Well, what are you doing? You need to be in, but is that what you want? Another pressure? Or honestly, this could be an expectation too, depending on your upbringing. Like, maybe you were expected to ride in newer cars instead of riding in a hoopty. But all I'm saying is, maybe there's a pressure on yourself to go get a new car and sign a 6-7 year lease for $500 to $700 a month. Is that what you want? Okay? Because if that old faithful car is still running and it doesn't have a car note, why are you trading it in when that's not really what you want? Because what you really want is to put all of your extra money into that business that you're trying to get off the ground. So what we have to realize is, what is it that we want? Make sure that you are asking yourself at every turn point in your life. I don't care if you have to ask yourself every day, what is it that I want for myself? Because nobody else's expectations matter. You know what amazes me the most is how a lot of us are grown as hell, but we still live by certain expectations that were placed on us when we were kids, still living in our parents' house. Even though we're grown as hell, we still try to do everything that we can to appease them. We love our parents dearly. We love our grandparents dearly. Whoever raised you, we love them dearly, but baby, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, like, we grown, okay? So you need to start thinking about what it is that you want for your life, because at the end of the day, I mean, you're the one living this life. Okay, so did we figure out the answer? Like, we know how to conquer rejection? You have to know what you want. That is the only possible way to conquer rejection, is to know what you want for your life. Rejection is digested easier when you know that that rejection is keeping you on the path where you are supposed to be and where you want to be in life. What prompted this whole entire conversation is I was rejected literally 2 days ago from a job. I have been applying for jobs for 2 years. So on that other video where I said that the job market was real hard and I knew all about it, baby, I know all about it. So I've been applying for 2 years, and in that 2 years, I had gotten 2 interviews. This was the second one. This piece is so important. When I first started my content creation journey, I started 2 years ago. That was when I first got on YouTube. When I started my content creator journey, I was very adamant and I made a bold statement that said, when I quit my job, I will not ever come back to corporate America. I will do my content creation full time. When I said that, I meant it, because that is what I actually wanted. Everything else, I was like, I don't want those things. I want to get on here and run my mouth on YouTube and make connections with people all over the place. Like, that is what I want to do. The first interview that I had was sometime early last year in 2023. Made it through all 3 rounds. I got through all 3 interviews. I just knew that job was mine. I knew it was mine. And then come to find out, because I have a friend that actually works for the company, and she's like, girl, they just laid off like 4,000 people. They didn't hire for the position. So then I'm like, I'm stuck in my job. Okay, whatever. You guys, this is literally the first time that I've had an interview since last year. And I've probably put in 100 applications, maybe more. I'm pretty certain it was probably more than 100 applications. But I finally get an interview. And then I also have another friend who works at this particular company. So she reaches out to the HR manager. It's a new position. All of the skills align with what my skill set is. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is in a bag. Like, I've been waiting. Like, this is my job. I go through 3 rounds of interviews again. I killed it. Like, I know this is my job. Tuesday, what is today? Thursday. So this happened Tuesday. When I say I had my email up all day waiting for my offer letter, like, that's how confident I knew I was getting this job. Had it up all day. By 5 o'clock, I didn't get anything. I'm like, you know what? They'll probably send it tomorrow. I close out everything. 30 minutes later, something told me to open up my email, and I opened it up, and I see that generic email come through. Thank you for your consideration, or thank you for applying, but we've gone with another candidate. Woo! Baby, I could have probably spit fire on somebody. I was livid. And I was about to get upset. I felt myself about to just get worked up and angry and upset. And I sat back and I closed my eyes. And then I looked up my vision board that I did on the vision board video that I showed you guys. I have it hanging in my office. I just looked at my vision board. I stared at it and I started smiling. And what I realized was, nowhere on my vision board does it say I want a corporate job. Nowhere on my vision board does it say that I want to work for somebody else. My vision board has my 100K plaque. Y'all see it? It's sparkling, it's shining. I know y'all see it right here, right? Yeah, all of that, it's right here. That's what's on my vision board. Content creation is on my vision board. So I wanted to tell you guys that story because, yes, I have been rejected. I have been rejected and passed over so many times. But now I am understanding that I can conquer that rejection, and I don't even care if I get rejected, because what? It is keeping me on the path that I actually want for myself. Because let's be honest, had I got that job and then next month my YouTube takes off, baby, you better believe, deuces, I'm out of here. I'm quitting, because that's what I want. I don't need this. This is what I want. 2 things are going to happen when you actually get to a point where you recognize what it is that you want for yourself in your own life. First thing is, you are going to realize all of the triggers that you're going to end up avoiding. So there are certain triggers that go off when we feel rejection. Like, certain things just start like firing off. We're going to avoid these things. And secondly, baby, you really realize that your story is still being written. Let's go over some of these triggers that we end up avoiding once we know what it is that we really want out of life. First thing, and probably most important thing that you end up avoiding, is living on a timeline. Those 30s woes that I told y'all about earlier, they become non-existent. The whole reason why we have all of this stress and pressure on ourselves is because we keep living by these timelines. And sometimes some of these timelines are completely unrealistic. There is not one person in this world, and if you meet this person, you let me know. But there is not one person in this world who has a timeline that was given to them at birth that says you will execute each one of these things by this certain age. There is no timeline. You're not living by a timeline. You're living by people's expectations, or you're living by society's expectations, but there is no timeline, sweetie. Like, it's non-existent. I saw a post yesterday. Who was it? Victoria Monet. Victoria Monet is an R&B artist, if you guys don't know, but the post said, would you wait 15 years? And basically, she talked about her experience in her music career. She said it took her 15 years to get from where she started to where she is now. Do you think homegirl operated on a timeline by doing that? No way. No way that she could have pictured waiting 15 years to get what she wanted out of life. But she waited. She waited patiently. She did the work. She went through every single step that was in her process. So that's what we have to understand, is when we take that timeline away, we don't compare ourselves to everybody else. So she could have easily been like, well, it took so-and-so 5 years, or it took so-and-so 3 years, and it took me 15. Like, she could have looked at that in a very negative way, but instead, she worried about what she had to do. She worried about the work that she had to put in, again, to achieve what she wanted, her actual goal that she had for herself. This is also an exact reason why people are suffering from burnout right now, because they keep telling themselves that they have to have all of these different things executed by a certain age, and then they're trying to force themselves, when they know they're tired, when they know they've done all they can, but they push themselves even further so that they can keep going and keep going, because I have to do this thing by this certain age. You're not going to have your best quality work doing that. You're going to burn out, and then you're really going to fall behind in your imaginary timeline. And then what? That causes depression. That causes anxiety. All kinds of things will come up from that. And y'all know this last one is a big one. I talk about it all the time. Yes, confidence. Boom. Yep. Y'all already knew it was gonna be here, so don't even act like that, okay? Your confidence can be shattered by so many things, and that's why I try to incorporate it in most of the conversations that I have, because it is such an important factor in like so many different areas. It's such an important factor. So when we're sitting and thinking about triggers of rejection, what is the first thing that is going to happen when you feel rejected? Where's that confidence gonna go? It's gonna go. When I got that rejection email, my confidence could have easily taken a plummet. I could have felt low. I could have felt like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? Like, and then you start going on the woulda, coulda, shoulda mind trip. All of that is unnecessary. When you put the work in to actually know what it is that you want out of life, and when you build up that confidence to be able to fight rejection, or not even fight it off, but you can just take the rejection. You're like, oh, you said no. Okay, let me go ahead and move this way and do what I need to do. When you put the focus in to really build up your strength in that area, your confidence will never be affected. But if you don't put work in this area, every time you get a rejection, your confidence is going to get lower and lower and lower. And that is what we want to avoid. So like I said, you guys, we can avoid these triggers. The triggers that come with rejection or feeling rejection, we can avoid those. But the second thing, the most amazing thing, is that you realize that your story is still being written. And the thing that I want you guys to take away the most is realizing what it is that you want out of life. Tuesday, when I got that rejection letter, I was blinded. And that's what happens a lot of the times. We get blinded by things that come into our forefront. So in that moment or right now, yes, I want to make more money. That job, it was going to pay me the dollar amount that I wanted. It was going to allow me to have a certain amount of PTO that I would accrue better than what I accrue right now. So I was getting blinded. I was blinded by all of these possibilities that were there. We can't get blinded by that. We can't get wrapped up in the potential of something that can happen right now, because there's still potential of what could happen down the line. So like I said, when I sat back and I looked at my vision board, I'm like, that's the potential that I want to wait for. Everything that I have on my board, it pertains to what I actually want. So I would rather wait for the potentials that come from that versus just looking at the potential of this job and getting upset about it. When you realize that your story is still being written, you can take redirection. Redirection is not an issue for you, because in this moment, I got rejected. It was a redirection. It put me back to where the path and the lane that I was supposed to stay on. This right here, my lane on YouTube, this is my lane, okay? Right here. This is where I belong. This is my lane. So that redirection it just shifted me back to where I needed to put my focus at. Because again, we get wrapped up in the things that we want right now. That's a big thing. We get wrapped up in everything that we want right now. But we just need a little bit of patience. Like, that's sometimes all it takes is just a little bit of patience. Like, I love that analogy where they talk about the seeds being planted, right? And we're always looking for the flower to start sprouting above the ground, but you don't realize how many roots are under the ground. You don't realize how strong of a base you've created with all of those roots that you have sprouted in the ground. So we can't pay attention to surface value all the time. Sometimes we have to look at what is the foundation that I've put in place for myself. Me getting another job, yeah, it could have worked out. Had I gotten the job and taken it, could have worked out. But honestly, the responsibility of that job would have been far more complex than what I currently do at my current job. So then what? That takes away from my filming time. That takes away from my editing time. So you have to really sit back and look at the bigger picture. One thing that is so very important, you have to know your value. It doesn't matter if you're rejected. Just because you're rejected does not strip away your value unless you allow it. That's the only way it's gonna happen, is if you allow it. But you have to know what you bring to the table. Again, your confidence in this area. I told y'all, confidence is everything. But you have to know what you bring to the table. In my eyes, I don't care if I got rejected. I kept on looking. This is true story. The other day, I was like, whoever get that job, they're not gonna do that job like I could have done it. They're not gonna do it like me. They're not gonna do, they're not gonna bring to the table the same kind of qualities that I would have brought. I mean, that's what I'm telling myself, and that's what I believe. So you have to know what type of value you bring to the table. You have to know that the skill sets that you have are like top tier. You cannot allow rejection to rob you of the value that you have instilled within yourself. So that's why I said it's so very important that you put focus on this area, so that anytime somebody does reject you and they overlook you and they pass you by, whatever, you have to be prepared to protect your value, protect your skills, protect your confidence, protect all of it, because you don't want anything to try to pull that away from yourself. And lastly, you have to believe in you. If you feel like I'm screaming at you right now, that's because I am. You have to believe in you. Nobody is going to believe in you the way that you believe in you. I don't care if it's your mom, dad, your grandmama, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your spouse, your girlfriend, boyfriend. I don't care. Nobody is going to believe in you the way that you believe in you. Even with my YouTube, people support me in my journey, but at the end of the day, I'm the one that believes that this silver plaque right here in my hand is real, because it is, okay? Like, I believe that this is real. I believe that I'm able and that I have the skill set to be able to reach that gold plaque and get that 1 million subscribers. I believe in that. I believe in my abilities to do that. Nobody else is going to believe in those things like I do. Whatever it is that you want for yourself, like truly, truly, truly want for yourself, you have to believe that you can do it. And yes, you're going to get some no's along the way. Do y'all know how many times I've been passed over for brand deals? Do y'all know how many times that I've been passed over for, just my content in general, like platforms and all that? People pass over me every day. I get rejected every day. I get told no every day. But always keep in mind and remember that you are going to get 1,000 no's. But all it takes is that one yes. All it takes is just one yes. So do me a favor, wait around patiently for your one yes to come. And I guarantee you that one yes is going to feel far greater than any other yes that you might have gotten along the process. Yes, they could have told me yes, I could have got the job and I would have been like, yay, for a moment. But that excitement that I would have felt for that is not near the excitement that I will feel when I get my 2 plaques in my hand, okay? So that is a wrap on today's conversation. I really hope that you guys enjoyed the conversation today, and I really hope it gives you some encouragement because, like I said, I'm dealing with these things too, you guys. Like, I'm not just getting on here making videos just because. I'm getting on here either making videos of things that I've experienced or things that I'm currently going through. And this was something I was currently going through, and it was really on my mind heavy. Like, I'm not about to let this rejection define who I am. I'm about to step over it and I'm going to keep going and I'm going to conquer it. So I really hope that this did give you some encouragement. Maybe you've received a rejection here recently. Don't let that define you. Don't let that upset you. Don't let that feel like you have to put a whole halt on your process or it's a roadblock or whatever. It's literally just a roadblock. The last time I checked, you can get out of the car and you can move it on out the way if you needed to. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, thank you guys so much for clicking on today's video. Thank you so much for all the support and the love that you guys show me. Trust me when I say I really do appreciate all of it. I appreciate everybody being here, and I just, I hope and pray that y'all continue to come and rock with me, because we're vibing, right? All up in there. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go. Thank you so much, and I will catch you guys on the next video.